Mm-mm. Like, what do you say to a person to make them understand what it is, especially if it is not something that they've ever experienced before? Anyway, that led me to think about how I never had to have anyone explain to me what ASMR was, because I've always experienced it listened to each spot, everything would just be silent again. I don't know what it is about hearing a sound, then everything going silent, then hearing that sound again without really knowing exactly when you're gonna hear it. But that's a trigger for me. Then she would do the same thing on my back, but this time she would be like, okay, deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. She would move the stethoscope to another spot. Deep breath in and out. She didn't shake her head like that. I'm just doing that so I won't blow so much breath into the microphone. But yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. I actually love watching ASMR videos where people do the breathe in, breathe out thing too. I can remember her taking a look inside my ears whenever she would put the whatever kind of scope that is inside my ear. I would hear this sound. Better yet, you know the sound that you hear when you hold a seashell up to your ear and it supposedly sounds like the ocean. That's the sound that I would hear when she would put the thing in my ear. It was very soothing. Then she would check my eyeballs with the thing. Of course, the personal attention she was giving triggered me as well. I can also remember having to wear these headphones. She explained to me that I would hear a sound, and she just needed me to point to the ear that I heard the sound in. The sound was this tiny little beep that you could just barely hear, but the tone of the beep was so subtle it made me sleepy. This whole appointment was a setup, okay? There's just no way I could have been that relaxed the entire time. But yeah, so I was listening for the beeps and I was literally sitting there like, I was almost completely zoned out with each beep. It was almost like my brain melted a little bit more and a little bit more. At some point, she started to actually touch parts of my body to make sure that everything felt normal. Her hands were kind of cold, but her touch was so soft and gentle. You know what that meant. Further relaxation. I found it pretty relaxing when she checked my reflexes with the little mallet. I really don't know why. Maybe because I was in an all-around relaxed state already. I don't know. When my appointment was over, I can remember walking back out into the waiting room, super sleepy. When we got to the car, I hopped in, buckled up, and went straight to sleep. I'm not even kidding. It was just that serious. Another little ASMR memory that I have is when I used to go to my aunt's house as a child. She used to hem or like alter clothing. So she would sit at the table with her sewing machine and she would have her glasses on right at the tip of her nose. These big old-fashioned glasses. Well, not old-fashioned. They were probably very popular at that time. But yeah, she would have her glasses on and as she was sewing the clothing, this would kind of magnify things for her. So she would occasionally look